Well, now on our top story on the political situation in Ukraine, and among the top concerns for the new leaders will be its relations with the EU, US and Russia. Now, Moscow says it won't interfere in Ukraine's affairs and expects the West to do the same. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says it's not about taking sides.
It is dangerous and counterproductive to try to force Ukraine to choose based on the principle of you're either with us or against us. We are interested in Ukraine being a part of a common European family.
Well, for more on the Russian angle, we're joined live by Masha Lipman. She's a political analyst from the Carnegie Moscow Center. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. Now, we've just heard from the Russian Foreign Minister there, Sergei Lavrov, warning the West against meddling in Ukraine's affairs, also saying that Moscow won't be doing the same as well. What's behind this message, do you think?
Well, I don't think that there can be a situation around Ukraine with foreign actors just staying away. To begin with, Ukraine is desperate for cash. It needs badly financial aid. The Speaker of its parliament said that Ukrainian economy is in a state of catastrophe. He said the coffers were empty. If financial aid comes to Ukraine from the outside, because where else? Then, of course, those nations or those international organizations will have leverage in Ukraine, and it is impossible to imagine that somebody would commit billions of dollars without strings attached. Oh. So this is this is not very meaningful, what the minister said.
Right. Now we are seeing a new Ukraine emerging. We've got the West on one side leaning towards the European Union, and we've got the East on the other side leaning towards Russia. In your opinion, do you think Ukraine would be better off leaning towards the EU or Russia?
Well, I don't think there is such an option for Ukraine, and this has been the wisdom that was voiced by many people over many years, that Ukraine cannot be either pro-Russian or pro-European, that Ukraine has to adjust, and nations outside Ukraine should adjust to the fact that there should be cooperation around Ukraine. However, this does not seem to happen, and especially recently, over the past months that had led to the tragic crisis in Ukraine and to the loss of over 80 lives, the game around Ukraine looked more and more like a zero-sum game, with both sides pulling Ukraine in toward themselves into their orbit rather than cooperating. Now we hear more pledges about cooperation. It remains to be seen whether this can actually lead to reasonable policies.
It's a fine line, isn't it, that Ukraine is actually walking here. Now, it is also a very critical time for Ukraine. Interim president acknowledges that the country is split in two ideologically, but he also said that there are signs of separatism. Is this a reality?
Well, I think we should look first and foremost at the region such as the Crimean Peninsula, part of Ukraine, which happens to be the home of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. This is, of course, an important factor there, with lots of Russian servicemen located in the Crimea. But also this is a region where the pro-Moscow sentiments are high, where just a couple days ago there was a huge 50,000 rally that was condemning the government in Kiev, and that claimed it would not recognize it. This region has an autonomous status within Ukraine. It can legitimately hold a referendum and vote for broader autonomy. Anyway, if we're thinking about separatism, we should look at this region, which causes concern.
All right, Masha, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your insight. That's Masha Lipman, the political analyst from the Carnegie Moscow Center.